I am Jen Tardy, and you are on Diversity Recruiter Central, where I teach you everything that you need to know except those ridiculous Boolean string searches as we're talking about diversity recruiting, because you can learn that anywhere. So here's what I believe. Organizations have made bold public commitments to increase representation among Black and Latinx populations. And although I acknowledge that these are great intentions and it is more than we've seen in the past from organizational leaders, I'm still deeply concerned. In today's video, I'm going to talk about why I'm so bothered about bold commitments to increase diversity, and I'll even share a few tips on what to do about those concerns, especially if you find yourself working or recruiting at a company that's made a bold promise to increase diversity. Let's get started. Do you remember in 2019, after the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, that many leaders of companies stood in solidarity with the Black community and made bold commitments for change? One of those areas of change was in hiring practices, specifically among Black populations, but you would also hear about increasing diversity among Black and Latinx populations. Here are 3 concerns that I have with these commitments. Concern number 1, lack of ownership. When leaders make these bold commitments, my first concern is that not all the right folks are held accountable for their part in meeting this commitment. Many people do not realize their own part in increasing diversity. As a matter of fact, the next time you talk to a hiring manager at your company, especially one that's been hiring for some time, ask them this question, please. Ask, where do you believe you are accountable in this initiative that we have to increase diversity at our company? Wait for their answers. The more I'm consulting with employers, the more that I find that many hiring leaders think that increasing diversity is solely the recruiter's responsibility. Or maybe they know that they should have a role in increasing diversity, but they're not quite certain what the role should be. Or they believe they are accountable for the wrong piece of the hiring process, or a subset of what the true realm of accountability should be. And when underrepresentation persists, guess who becomes the fall guy? Recruiters. Here's a tip. Recruiters are accountable for diversity within the candidate pool. Hiring managers are accountable for the diversity among those who get hired. Make sure that both parties know what they're accountable for up front. If you just leave it on the recruiter's shoulder, your initiative, it most likely will get roadblocked. Let me ask a quick question out of curiosity. At your company, who's held accountable for increased workplace diversity? Join me in the comment section and tell me your answer there. Moving on to concern number 2. I am concerned by a lack of insight and acknowledgement. No one knows where the barriers are to increasing workplace diversity because no one is collecting data in recruiting. And even if organizations are collecting data, they're not doing a great job of reviewing that data consistently. Be sure to implement systems to track candidate demographic data, like a candidate self-ID program, and audit the data for outcomes affecting, in particular, underrepresented populations. It helps you to find areas where there's a lack of equity, and then acknowledge where change needs to be made and be specific. It is a difference between saying that recruiters need to be trained and recruiters need to be trained on how to review resumes without bias. You see the difference? Data will help you to see what areas of your hiring process may be negatively and disproportionately affecting specific populations. So please use data. Concern number 3, I am concerned by a lack of support. Help your recruiters and hiring teams to feel qualified, capable, and comfortable with diversity recruiting. The way you can increase that support is by connecting your hiring professionals to experts who can show them best practices in diversity recruiting. So here at JTC, we have 2 courses available. One is a virtual 7-week training program for recruiters, and one is a virtual 6-week training program for hiring managers who want to better understand how to implement effective diversity recruiting and hiring programs. You can check on both of them by visiting jennifertardy.com/workwithme. Before you go, I do want to give you a special gift. If you haven't already, check out and download my free Platinum Checklist for hiring professionals. It tells you 10 things to stop doing in order to increase diversity in the workplace. It's free and it's helpful. If you like this video, you're going to love our video called Diversity Recruiting Best Practices, What Must First Be in Place. So the link is going to be in the description below. Check it out. I'm Jennifer Tardy, your diversity recruiting coach. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.